I threw a little bird seed out here in my bird feeder yesterday for the first time in several months, and I noticed I got some cardinals feeding today. I'm going to set up my camera. Maybe we catch just a little bit of bird action while I sit on the front porch and gab a bit. Good day, my friends. Walter here. Today we're going to sit here and look at my bird feeder. I put some bird feed out yesterday. It's been several months since I did that, and I noticed today I got a few cardinals hanging around the bird feeders. We're going to do a little bird video, and I'm going to tell you a story. The story I'm going to tell you today is one I've already told before. But it's been 5, 6, 7 years ago when I told it. And on my webpage here, I've accumulated quite a few viewers since then, and many of you probably haven't heard the story. If you have, I apologize. And I'm not going to tell the story word for word, because I don't have it memorized. I think it was in 2009 when I last told this story. Yesterday, what brings my story to mind is all the tornadoes and bad weather they had in New Orleans and places. And if you've never been in a tornado, let me tell you, it is a frightful experience. I have been in one. I've been in hurricanes in my lifetime. In one tornado. I don't never want to be in another tornado. I'll take a hurricane any day. It was in March 1975, something like that. A tornado came through the city of Atlanta, just created havoc up there, tore down part of the governor's mansion, came across the area of Atlanta where the train yard was, Inman Yards, and Norfolk Southern, at that time the Southern Railway train yard. And I was working under the repair track. A repair track is a big open shed with no sides, had a slate type roof on top of it, iron posts, and ribs support the shed. And 4 different railroad tracks ran underneath it, and we would roll box cars, tank cars, flat cars, whatever through that place and repair them. We had torches and all the equipment you need set up out there, jacks, car jacks, all the equipment you need to repair rail cars. I was working on track 1 that day. I came to work at 7 a.m. and it was raining. I noticed, I always work track 1. I noticed the track had been pulled through the repair track too far, and the first car that I could see that I was going to have to work on was all the way through the shed out in the open weather. I thought, darn, I got to get out here in this rainy area and finish this welding job. And welded a coupler carry iron, slang term, to the under the jawhead of the coupler. It was a flat car, a spring type carry iron. Kind of a complicated one. We had to rebuild them every once in a while. But with them old F interlocking couplers, the spring carry iron spring up and down with the coupler. Anyway, that's not the topic of my conversation today. We're talking tornadoes. Well, I began welding on this car. I thought I'd hurry and get this welding done before the rain gets any worse. I had the welding helmet down over my hood. Most of the men had just come to work and were standing over by these big heaters between track 1 and 2. They hadn't even started their day's work yet, but I was in a hurry to get done. Well, I'm welding away, and somebody yelled, Hey, Parks, come here. I said, I'll go fly a kite. Can't you see I'm busy? They couldn't hear me. I had the welding hood done over my head. And welding with an arc welder is not the quietest thing in the world. It makes a lot of noise in itself. Anyway, a big storm was brewing behind me over towards what, I guess it's still there, Perry Homes, just on the one side of the train yard. By the time I got to welding good on that carry iron, the storm knocked out the electricity and the power went off. So naturally my electric welder quit. I said, well, I might as well go see what they want. And I laid that welding helmet down on the end of that flat car kind of casually. Guess I'll go see what they want. Somebody said, you better run. And they sounded pretty serious. And I looked behind me and saw stuff twirl in the air, spinning through the sky. The freight cars out in the forwarding yard were flipping over sideways. And I figured, well, I had better run. Where do you go when you're up under a big shed? Earl, one of the men in track 3, I think he went up under the boxcar he was working on and grabbed onto whatever he could underneath there. And one of the electricians was tying himself to a pole out there. Some of the men went in the car foreman's shack. The only place I could see to go was a bathroom. It's like a metal shed. So that's where I went. I ran in that little metal shed bathroom. And when I got in there, there was 3 or 4 other men in there. And by that time, the tornado was tearing the roof down on the repair track. It got really loud. I mean, that slate roof was crushing in there on us. And that whole little tin building was shaking. I ran in the stall with Charlie Baxter, who happened to be sitting on the toilet doing his morning constitutional. Charlie didn't know what to think. Usually everybody stayed away from that bathroom when he was in there. It wasn't the best smelling place to be. All of a sudden he had 3 or 4 men in there just dying to keep him company. In this little room, it's about, well, I don't know, 8 by 8 or something like that. It's just enough room for a stall, a men's urinal, and a sink to wash your hands, and I think a mirror. But anyway, I ran in the stall with Charlie. Didn't have a door on it. But this whole stall, the wall of this stall was shaking, and I'm holding it up. I looked over towards the urinal. Mr. Avery, he was an old man who worked out there in the supply department, had a damn cigar stuck in his mouth, and he's puffing away on that cigar. I never saw him without it. And I'm thinking, good Lord, we're going to die, and he got to have one more puff on that damn cigar. He was just puffing like crazy. Looked like a steam engine over there. Well, it shook that whole building for a while. Old Charlie yelled, I can't find the toilet paper. I'd stick your butt out the door, Charlie. I believe you can fix that situation in a hurry. I see some of my birds are hanging around out there, but it ain't going to be no real exciting video. But, anyway, that's my story. I could put a link to the first time I told this story in my description below. But now you'll know why I get kind of antsy and fidgety when a storm comes through. For a long time after that, I was just nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. A long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs. We had a week or 2 later, we had a relative come and visit, my wife and I, and she was staying in the extra room. We lived in a mobile home at the time, and that lady was snoring, and it woke me up, and I jumped out of that bed yelling, tornado, tornado, tornado's coming. My wife said, oh, shut up, this just ain't Claire back there snoring. But it didn't take much to set me off. Still get a little antsy after all these years. when storms come blowing in. So those folks over in New Orleans yesterday went through one frightful experience. I guarantee you they did. If you ain't never been in a tornado, feel lucky. Those who have been know what I'm talking about. And I don't remember if it sounded like a freight train or not. And I know it was loud. I got some pictures of it somewhere. I can't decide where they are. They're stashed away in a box somewhere in the basement. Anyway, that's my vlog for today. I'll include a little bit more footage of the birds here. Maybe we can see something unusual flying. Thanks for listening, my friends.